Hey everyone, Chef Lene coming to you from my kitchen in upstate New York here. I want to show you today a recipe that I found in the Delicioso Tapas book that I talked to you about on a live session day, which was Wednesday. And I'm going to obviously make it into a plant-based product, which is a healthy version of the tapas in that book. But I want to show you something first that you can do, because the topic of conversation this week is Spain, right? The regions of Spain are so vast, kind of like in Mexico, where different regions are known for different food products. But if we are putting out a catering event or doing a wedding or cooking for clients and they are plant-based, and we're calling the theme of our service tapas, then we need to represent Spain correctly by using ingredients from the region. So with that, I'll tell you the ingredients I have, and then I'll show you the book again and show you how you can download and get access to that book should you want to, in your future, do some plant-based cuisine for your clients. Now, the book is not plant-based, but it's very easy to translate those recipes into plant-based, right? And as you get more information in your wheelhouse, you'll know how to do that. So here's a small example I wanted to show you. I splurged today because it was payday and I got olive oil from Spain and I'm very excited about it. Typically, I wouldn't do that, but Wegmans is the name of our grocery store, but they import different ingredients. And this one is an olive oil. It says intense cold pressed, but it is from Spain. And what I thought was really cool was on the bottom, it says protected designation of origin, España, and it has a label like a icon of their designation, which usually means there are rules applied to how this product is manufactured. And this is obviously cold pressed, so it's going to be healthy. But would I want to saute in it? No. I want to drizzle this on the finished product. The aroma, oh my goodness. It's almost floral. But being in Morocco also, I learned that depending on the country of origin where that olive comes from, they're completely different. Italian olive oils and the olives I tried in Morocco, night and day. So that's kind of something to showcase and teach clients about, right? And if I'm going to drizzle a $15 product on the top of your tapas, I can generate more revenue from that, because this is a business, right? It's about health, but it is also a business. You go to culinary school, you're classically trained, that knowledge is passed down to the guests, but guess what? They have to pay for that as well. I couldn't find sherry vinegar at Wegmans today, so I got my second choice, and this is champagne vinegar from France. But as we learned in the lecture material, France had quite a presence in Spain. So you will find a lot of French ingredients. And this is, again, champagne vinegar, not that expensive, but different from white wine vinegar. It's effervescent, if you will, because the original product before it's fermented is champagne. So as you're in your restaurants in the industry, you can take leftover, like bottles of champagne from the bar that maybe are past their shelf life, snag it and use it in the kitchen, make vinegar out of it. That's very easy to do. I have chorizo today. Oops, I knocked over something. plant-based chorizo, which tastes just like the Spanish version. Remember, there's a difference between Mexican and Spanish. The Spanish version's kind of hard, like salami, and it's salted. I have some sweet bell peppers because they are emulating pimentos, which are used a lot in Spain. I have some cilantro. I've got some whole leaves back here. And I also have, I did some chiffonade of cilantro, and I'll tell you why, because it looks prettier and it doesn't bruise. So it's just really thin strips. And that's what, chiffonade, if you remember your classical knife cuts, is a 1/16 of an inch by 1/16. It's long, almost 2 inches long. And then I have just a little bit of garlic, because tapas should be very flavorful. I mean, chorizo, garlic, and so on. And today we are using, instead of tofu, I wanted to switch that up a little bit. Look how beautiful that caramelization is. This is garbanzo bean tofu, okay? I seared them in advance, because you know how to sear, using really nice heat. But this one had salt and pepper on it, okay? Just seared in a little olive oil. This one that got more color to it, which is a little prettier, I dredged in a little bit of flour. What that does, and what that's a good indicator of, is how when you dry a protein, it caramelizes nicer. So if it's moist, like tofu is always a little bit moist, although the chickpea tofu is a lot more firm. So if in your cooking you want to have a product that's not going to fall apart, go ahead with chickpea tofu instead of firm soybean tofu, okay? So we're just going to do a little dish. Tapas, again, are, they enhance your appetite. The minute, when we're hungry, the minute our eyes see food that is recorded in our memory, we're like, oh, that looks good. That starts your degustation, right? Small pieces of food before the piece de resistance, or before the main entree, little bits of food get your digestion going, and it's healthier to eat that way instead of being starving and then all of a sudden eating a big entree, boom, overloading your stomach right away. It's best to have small plates first. That's where the whole appetizer, hors d'oeuvre, canapé, tapas comes from, right? How does a tapa differ from an appetizer, canapé, or an hors d'oeuvre? It really doesn't, other than country of origin, okay? So if we're gonna call it a tapa, or we're gonna say our menu is comprised of tapas, then they have to be of Spain origin, all right? I wanna show you real quick here, if I'm able to do this, the book, and how you also can find, I'm gonna share my screen. And show you how to download this book real quick. And then I'll just whip up this little tapa for you. All right, so on the screen, you should see the book. I showed it to you in class. Oh no, it's gonna do that. Oh, good, it went to the page. What you do is you go to this archive.org, and it says borrow for an hour. I didn't want to buy it, so I just signed up for free, and then I hit borrow for an hour, and it lets me see this book for an hour. So I went to the glossary in the back, and I looked through the recipes, and like, okay, this is the one I want to do. Beans with chorizo, okay? And I thought, oh yeah, we can emulate that plant-based very easily. So that's where I got my recipe from. But instead of using beans, which beans would work well in this, I'm choosing to use the chickpea tofu. And why is that? Because chickpeas are very prevalent in Spanish cuisine. Okay. In fact, many regions of Spain, it's very poor demographic. People live off the land, and they're very rural. So obviously a protein source like chickpeas are used a lot. Okay. Guys, I wouldn't be surprised if on this website you found a lot of cool cookbooks that you can use to get ideas, right? And I just wanted to kind of bring that up. So with that, I will stop my share and we'll go ahead and put some plates together. When you do hors d'oeuvres, canapes, tapas, obviously we want plates of them, and it's only a few bites, but we want each plate decorated the same. Okay, I'm going to put my sanitizer over here, and I've got some plates here, and they're appropriate for kind of small bites, right? So we'll go ahead and plate up some small plates there, and I'll walk you through this. But other ideas for tapas, right? I have this set up. I use this every time I do parties, like hors d'oeuvre parties. I have these spoons, and this tray that it's on is made of stone. They're so cool, and I have like 6 of these setups. You could put a tapa, like the tapa we're making today, you could put 2 bites worth on each spoon. And as the guest comes through the buffet, they just take the spoon off the tray. And then you can have like a glass block, and you can have plenty of these like in different directions and different levels all over the buffet. It's just really pretty, and it's a great way to uh, display your food. And when you're highly artistic and you have a lot of knowledge going into the food and you are serving it that way, the revenue is built. You can charge more for the product that gives you, more contribution margin. And you should know what I'm talking about from your business classes, right? Other things that you can do is you can put, like a cocktail in one of these this is like a 3-inch cup. I'm hoping you can see that. They're clear. And then you can use like a little fork or spoon. I've got hundreds of these. They're really inexpensive. They look like really nice high end. And you would put the chorizo and the peppers and everything in there. Maybe I would squeeze some aioli in the bottom, and then I would stick that fork in there, and then I would line those up on a nice silver platter. Wouldn't that be cute? And then again, I'm charging more for it because a lot went into it. Or little teeny plates like this, with the little fork on that. And if you had like 100 of those lined up, I mean, this is where you make money. You're making money from your craft, from your knowledge, from what we're teaching you here in the class. I also wanted to show you this. You're gonna be like, what is that? This is what the chorizo came in, and this is what you call the casing. So when I'm feeding a vegan customer, I wouldn't give them a vegan product that was in animal organs, which is what casings are. These casings, you can't cook in them. So if you get a vegan, sausage or type product, it's always going to be in a removable casing. It's in the casing so that mixture can be put in the casing, and then it's cooked in the casing to hold its shape So it looks like a sausage link, right? Just wanted to pass that along. Not sure how many of you were aware of that. So in this book, Delicioso by Penelope Cruz, she really knows her stuff. This was one of the recipes. So I'm going to take my saute pan that I seared my chickpea tofu in. So it has in the bottom a little flavor, salt, pepper, and some of that chickpea stuff. I mean, I can really smell it in there. So I don't want to get rid of that. That's building layers of complexity, right? So let's turn it on. It also has a bit of oil in there. Oops. I need to lock my canister here. We talked about these burners last week, right? Yeah. $27. They're the handiest thing you'll ever buy for your kitchen. Don't even need electricity. You can do this outside. You can do it in your guest garage. You can cater anywhere you want with those. So I'm going to put just a little bit of olive oil here. I don't need to sear anything heavily, but I want to think about my ingredients here. What order should they go in? I'm not following Penelope Cruz's recipe anymore because I have enough knowledge. I know how to cook, right? I know how to layer flavors, and you guys should at this point as well. I need to soften the peppers, and that takes a little bit. I don't really want to get color to them because if I brown them, then they're not going to be vibrant in color, right? And I want to start with the end in mind. The chorizo, already cooked, but I want to heat that through, and I want all of that paprika and spice that's in there to coat my vegetables. So I'm going to go ahead in with my peppers first, just because I want to loosen them up a little bit. I don't want to go in with my garlic at this stage because I think my peppers are going to take a little bit to get, softened. I could have roasted those in advance and then just tossed them in, right? So I'm going to layer peppers. Then I'm going to go in with my garlic. I want my garlic to be cooked enough so that it's mellowed in flavor. It's not going to taste like raw garlic, and I'm not going to let it burn so it gets bitter. Then I'm going to go in with my chorizo because that just needs to heat through. It's pre-cooked. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of vinegar, and that's going to deglaze the pan. And then I'll follow up with my chiffonade cilantro. That's pretty hot, so I want to turn it down. Again, I don't want to get a ton of color on those, right? But now I've had the chickpeas in there and that seared. Now the peppers, it smells so good. These are sweet peppers, by the way. Let's put a little bit of salt, a little sea salt in there, a little cracked black pepper. Again, the purpose of a tapa is to stimulate the appetite, right? Not fill you up, but just to get your brain thinking about digestion. So we want it to be really flavorful. Okay, so my peppers are softening, and I know that I still have some cook time in there. I'm going to go ahead with my garlic. Now we've got tons of vitamin C. We've got the antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties of the garlic. Keep it moving, right? If I don't keep it moving, somewhere that garlic could burn, and I don't want that. Now I'm going to go ahead in with my chorizo, if you're going to use the accent properly. I like to get rid of what I already used. And all of that is just distributing heat, making sure the garlic isn't burning anywhere. I'm sauteing, but I turned my heat down just a little bit so that it's nice and manageable, okay? Next I want to hit it when I'm ready. I want to deglaze with a little champagne vinegar, not a lot, because I don't want to overdo it, but I want to give that acid to heighten the flavors. Oops. I'm not going to go in with my cilantro till the very end. You know, carryover cooking is a big thing that you guys have probably really honed in on now. We're gonna have a lot of heat still in that pan. That's gonna finish off my my cilantro. I'm gonna take a paper towel here, make sure my plates are completely clean, because I'm sure I've said that to one or two of you about, that's our calling card. We don't want any fingerprints, oil splatter, any of that on that plate. We want that white to kind of make our product pop there, okay? So everything is nice and oh, so aromatic. Now I'm gonna hit it. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead in with my cilantro. Mix it around, turn my heat off because I don't need any more heat. All that heat is still in that pan. Now I want to think of plate presentation, but you know I've thought of that in advance. I'm going to take my most beautiful, and I figured a serrated blade would be the best to get through that crust with like a sawing motion like this. Right? So that I'm not disrupting any of the, you know, caramelization on the top or any of that. Now, temperature wise, tapas can be any temperature. They can be room temperature, they can be warm, or they can be hot, they can be cold. You know, it doesn't matter. And those are very flavorful with the seasoning and everything on there. Now I'm just going to layer some of that flavor in the center. And I just, you know, got that plate a little bit dirty there. I want to make sure there's the same amount of meat, you know, and the colors of peppers. I want to get all the right color there. I want to build some height a little bit, right? I want every plate here to look exactly the same and have the same amount of product on it. And I want a little piece of red on every bite. So I've got the chorizo, the peppers, the garlic, the cilantro, right? On every single plate here. Looks like I might have a little bit more on that one, so let's go ahead and hit everybody else. This one needs a little more, let's change this guy so it's kind of standing up a little bit. Then I'm going to go in with a little bit of a wet paper towel. And I'm going to clean up anything that just splattered on that plate. And I wouldn't let a server take it out until I had that done. I was very careful on those two. So I've got 3 clean ones there. It's okay to have a little bit where the food is, but we don't want it disrupting that plate. We also want to hurry. We don't want everything completely chilled, right? Now I'm going to hit it with just a garnish represents ingredients in the product. So I'm going to hit this with a piece of a cilantro leaf. And sometimes, you know, I like to take a little oil and make a nice, a leaf that is really kind of shiny. Take the stem off and just one leaf on each plate. If I do it to one, I've got to do it to the others, right? Then I would take a little of my Spanish olive oil because we're really celebrating Spain. And I might just drizzle. Oh, not open. You ever notice your poultry shears have this thing on them? It's so you can kind of grab things and twist. There we go. I guess this stuff is expensive enough that, oh, that was too much. Okay, pretty, huh? The top went in there. There's a top on it that would make it come out a little bit less quickly. So there you have a beautiful little tapa, right? It's colorful. It's everything is plant-based. It's nutritious. It's flavorful, and you're representing the best things about Spain. You know, another nice little twist on this plate would be a little piece of bread. And that way, as you ate the chorizo, and you could take a little bit of bite of that bread, and then you can rub your bread in that oil. You can also take some of these little appetizer forks. They make these in spoons as well. I've got a container of the spoons there. So when the client, you're the caterer and you're doing this for a wedding, because you do nicer things like this for weddings or events or retirement parties or birthday parties and so on. You've got a talking point, right? People love to learn. People think that chefs are rock stars, right? So this is a great way to talk to them about everything. I love how that tofu, I love how it's white in there against the yellow. Look how flavorful that olive oil looks. Isn't that pretty? What questions or comments do you have? Does that sound like something you might want to try? It smells so good in here. Anybody who's out there today?
When I think what you're doing is just marvelous there. My taste buds, along with my digestive system, was prepared to taste it. You
Now,
know, I
look,
can base, yeah,
now you know how I feel when I am grading your assignments. I get so hungry. I want to go to my kitchen and make whatever I'm grading. That's the truth.
yeah. Usually that the um the meat part is called not cilantro. What is the meat part called that with you
Um,
substituting
chorizo,
chorizo? Right.
yep.
It
C-H,
start with a C.
yep.
Right. Okay. Right. Because they
C-H-O,
have it. It's basically a sausage like.
yeah.
Is that correct? Right? Cerrito. Right. They have it in a beef, pork. Right. But you're using what are you substituting for the chorizo?
I'm using plant-based. So the base of it is tofu, but it has all of the flavoring that you would find in chorizo. Chorizo is a little bit on the spicy side, and it has
Yes,
paprika in it, so it's kind of like reddish.
correct.
But
Okay.
it's delicious. It's like it tastes like sausage, and it has the mouth feel. Look at that. It looks like sausage. Look how pretty.
Okay.
Mm,
That's the chickpea
this right
tofu
here.
that you're eating,
This is
right?
the
Okay.
chickpea right here. Now, something to think about. If the person could not stand up and walk around and eat this, I would need to serve a knife, right? Because you don't want anyone fighting with the food. There's a good bite right there. It's got a pepper, some chorizo, and then the chickpea on it. So this could be a little skewer as well, you know? It's really good. A friend of mine said
So that's vegan.
all vegan.
Okay. You
Does
can tell the color of the olive oil is different.
it is, right?
Yes, the color of the olive oil look more richer. It look
It
more richer,
is.
more yeah, dark.
And
It's dark, you know.
and it is so
Yeah,
flavorful, but it's very different from Italian olive oil. That's why this stuff was 15 bucks a bottle, right? So you don't need that much of it. Just a drizzle is a nice accompaniment to the dish. Um, this would taste good with olives in it as well. And obviously, um, Spain has olives, right? So I guess the takeaway from today is one, it tastes like it has real chorizo in it. You can emulate flavors, and in this book, Delicioso, you can make those plant-based. It takes a little creativity, but when you are taking a recipe and making it your own, you want to think about the plate presentation. I didn't just put it together after I cooked the stuff. I thought to myself, like, what's it going to look like? And how do I want to sear the tofu? And then, what flavors are going to pair well with it and all that. So there's a lot of planning that goes into it.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. Believe me, it's beautiful.
Thank you so much. I wanted to give you guys something a little bit more than you can watch the video for the demos. There's nothing on your production tonight that you haven't been set up in the past. You know how to sear, all of those techniques. You've been practicing them in these classes leading up to it. So you'll be an externship soon. And you want to get to a point where you're creating the food, right? But until you can't really do that until you borrow ideas. And it's okay to borrow ideas and then make that recipe your own. All I did was borrow the idea. It sounded amazing, but then I didn't follow her procedure because, I know how food works together, and I know how to cook it properly, as do you. Simple. See how easy that was? I
Yes,
could charge
that's
quite a bit
beautiful.
for that.
Okay, how much would a plate like that cost?
Um, that's a good question. It depends on other factors. Am I taking food like this to someone's home and setting up there, or are people coming to my establishment? So if I'm taking it to someone's home, there's all kinds of other charges, but if they're coming to me, they're just going to pay for the product. You would get at least, I don't know, I could say $8 to $10, but it depends on service and it depends on what's going to follow that. And obviously, this isn't sufficient for a meal, right? But
Correct.
if I ate just one of these, and maybe with a little piece of bread, and I dip all that, I'm good for about half an hour. And now I can go into my main course, and my system is already, you know, digesting, sounds kind of weird, but other countries think about that. In the United States, it seems like we eat when we eat because we like it and we're indulging ourselves, as opposed to eating for digestion, eating for health, eating to get all the nutrients and energy our body needs, right? So any other questions, guys? You good? I hope you liked
I
the
just want
demo
to ask
today.
you, that meal that you just created there, is that considered a high-end dish or something that comes from say persons that's don't um don't have money to eat out? Is that like a common meal or a high-end meal?
I think that's a really good question. So in the lecture, we talked about Spain. Many regions in Spain have farmers and they grow this stuff and they would eat like this. And yes, it's not expensive because we're not using meat. Meat is way more expensive typically, steak and pork and all that, than vegetables per pound, right? So we're
Correct.
using, okay, so this chickpea tofu was enough to make more than 20 of those dishes, and I bought it for $3. You're not going to
Hmm.
find meat at, but this dish, because of the way it's presented, and if I were doing it as a cooking class, and if I were doing it to teach people about healthful eating, and obviously I have really nice olive oil, there's just a lot of factors that go into it. I think this could fit many different environments, but as a chef, we always want to make sure our food matches the guest expectation. So could this work on a fancy high-end amuse-bouche? Absolutely. There's no reason it couldn't. It would work as an appetizer before a main meal. It would work as hors d'oeuvres, you know what I mean? But all the ingredients are celebrating Spain specifically, so it is a tapa.
Beautiful.
Thank you guys. I hope you liked it, and I will see you next week. Text me if you have any questions about your production, and I look forward to seeing your hard work on the plate for next week, okay? Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good
Inspirational.
weekend.
Inspirational. Totally inspirational. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I hope so. I really want to be that for you guys. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a beautiful weekend.
You too. Bye, guys.